Hi everyone, my name is Paola and this is my midterm project. I chose to do a narrated presentation, and the topic I chose was learning, innovation, and creativity in organizations. I really liked the video that we watched that week, the introduction video that Brother Embry gave us. In fact, that's one of the first things I wanted to talk about, how he compares organizations as a brain, and he introduces the brain theory. A lot of companies use the brain theory because they want to apply the principles that come with it. Employees are able to learn, get smarter, they're more innovative and creative, and they're better problem solvers. At the beginning of the video, he does mention that actually one of my favorite parts of that video is the beginning where he tells the story about his friend and him in the car crash, and how his friend survived, but then his brain had to adapt in order for his body to do things that he had previously done before. And so he states that the brain is holographic, and that's the whole idea behind the brain theory, that the brain, or companies that apply this theory, are holographic. And that means that the whole is imprinted on each of its parts. The body is able to adapt. He also mentioned that back in the classical theory, we learned that they compared the employees to machines because everyone was trained with one thing and one separate thing. So one person learned how to make certain parts, another person learned how to ship out the parts, and so everybody was trained in their speciality. But the brain theory is that everyone knows how to do each other's jobs, so that if one person goes missing, they're all able to adapt and someone can take over. And he says that the classical theory is efficient and they're based off of efficiency, but the brain theory is safe. They play things safe. And I really like this, which is why I chose this subject, because I prefer safety over efficiency. And I just realized that that's written a little wrong right there. But yeah, that's kind of why I like that. And then I looked online for a couple of companies that either testified to the brain theory or used it in their companies. And one of the ones I found was a research done by Creativity at Work. Actually, this isn't it. Let's go to this one. It's what? I'm sorry, this isn't working. Okay, so it's done by the Burris Research, and if you go to that website, it's a really good website, and it kind of gives a testimony to how they don't necessarily use the brain theory as the label, but they do testify that creativity and innovation are what drives companies to success. This is from their motto right off the beginning of their homepage, and it says, the companies that have done the best over the long haul are those who are the most creative and innovative. These organizations don't copy what others do. Instead, they may use innovative ideas from others as a springboard to come up with a unique application, product, or service for themselves. They tend to distance themselves from the competition rather than compete with them. If they see another company copying what they do, they create something new and better. In other words, they are able to leverage their creativity and their innovative capabilities to attain long-term success. And I really like this, and it's one of the main systems that I'm using in my semester milestone project. I think the brain theory, the creativity, innovation, and the learning process or system behind companies is what drives them to success, because they're able to adapt, like it was mentioned before, and they're able to I know efficiency is a lot more of a part for the classical theory, but in my point of view, I think that the organizations that are based upon learning, innovation, and creativity are a little more efficient in the long run, because if someone goes missing, someone else can chip in. If there is a problem, then they can solve it themselves more than really just rely on one person, because that one person knows how to do that one thing. Everyone can pitch in to solve problems. And it kind of leads it to the next company that I researched. She started her own business helping other companies apply these principles, and they're called Creativity at Work. And a little bit about her. Linda Naiman, she founded this company in order to, she experimented with a company and she thought, how can I make a company successful? And so then once she started realizing her company was successful, she started asking herself, what's making me successful? And that's how she based her company. That's how she started expanding more of the roles and functions they did as a company. And so they help other companies apply creativity and innovation and collaboration, just working with these principles. And she said something that I really like. It says, for innovation to flourish, organizations must create an environment that fosters creativity, bringing together multi-talented groups of people who work in close collaboration together, exchanging knowledge, ideas, and shaping the direction of the future. Organizations led by creative leaders have a higher success rate in innovation, employee engagement, change, and renewal. I think there's a saying, happy wife, happy life, for husbands when they keep their wife happy. It goes to say that life is a lot easier and happier. And I think this can be applied to companies as well. When companies have their employees happy, then their company as a whole is a lot more successful. And when there's less stress, I think that can help ease the unhappiness level. For example, and I know a lot of this is redundant, I just can't reiterate enough how creativity and innovation and the learning process of it all is what helps these companies to be successful. But if everyone knows how to do a little bit of each person's job, then there's not a high stress level when someone goes missing or something goes wrong and someone else is busy that they need to ask the question to. Everyone is kind of, and it's co-independent, but they're also, it's a big principle of the church as well. They're self-reliant, and I think that's why I chose this theory or system overall as the semester midterm project, and then also as the semester milestone project. And just a little bit more about them. They're an international consortium of creativity and innovation experts, design thinkers, and arts-based learning practitioners. So like I said, they help other companies be creative, apply innovation and leadership capabilities. So that's kind of why I was researching them and why I really liked what they had to say, or what she had to say especially about this. And let's see. So these are the three main principles that I like. They're my favorite across the whole semester that we've learned. I've really enjoyed all of the rest too, but especially these three principles is what have stuck out to me the most. And it's that everyone can do everyone else's job. I really, really like the idea of self-reliance. My mom has raised me with that principle since birth, I think. Just storage, emergency preparedness, financial independency. And so this, for if I ever try to start my own company, it's what I would apply the most. Employees are easy to adapt. They can adapt to change if someone gets let go, or someone quits, or the company needs to keep changing and improving. And it's not such a pause, or there's no hesitation for those changes. There's no delay in the progress or the process of the company. And then this last part, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in the next slide, but employees look for ways to improve what is already being done. And that goes along with the idea of the double loop learning, which is also something that I really enjoyed learning about, and I really like. And again, I will definitely apply it. So now, just to recap what the brain theory is, summarizing it, it's, give me just 1 second. I think I talked about it, or I put the slide in the brain theory. So, let's go here. And yeah, so the double loop learning. Employees question the norms. So when they're working, they ask themselves, what needs to be improved. There was a part in the podcast by Brother Embry that I really liked. And it was that the comparison to the lizard. And so I really think that if we're more like, if we take that extra step that lizards don't do, we'll be acting by the double loop learning process. And that questioning process, that helps us be better employees, be better people, citizens. I mean, I can go on, but it helps us, like he said, to grow, evolve, and just to learn and be creative and be innovative. And now I'm going to quote him. He says, "The fact that we stop and we say, just because things have always been done this way in the past doesn't mean they have to be done this way in the future. There could be other ways of functioning. That's what allows us as a species to be so much more innovative and improve as a race." So now we can recap what the whole brain theory is, or the learning, innovation, and creativity within organizations. So again, those three parts. Learning, it's so essential for us to keep learning, to keep entering that knowledge, because if we stop learning, then we pause and we'll be doing the same thing repetitively. And I think that goes along the lines with the classical theory, which is why I'm not opposed to it. It's just not my favorite. Because in the research by Dr. Burris, he gives 10 strategies for increasing creativity and innovation. And part of it, he says, innovation is based on knowledge. Therefore, you need to continually expand your knowledge base. I just read number 2. Read things you don't normally read. Sorry about that. And then if you want to go over all of these, just put pause on the video. But a lot of these, like for example, this first one, to observe. Number 2, expand your knowledge base. Number 3, just your perception. And this really stuck out to me as well. Be careful about how you're perceiving things. In other words, defer judgment, because that does limit your reasoning. It kind of puts a wall up, and you're seeing things through glasses full of bias opinions. Now, these 3, they have a lot to do with the double loop process or learning system. So recognizing that patterns are useful, but they could be a problem. And then redefine the problem completely, and then look to see where others aren't looking, or look where others aren't looking to see what others aren't seeing. So, fixing that problem, it takes a lot of the double loop process. And what I found the most fascinating was learning about it from Brother Embry, and then seeing other companies that think the same way and that rate the success level a lot higher with companies that use these 3 things as their main focus rather than other strategies. And I keep comparing it back to the classical theory, but that's just how I found these 2 just so opposite, or polar. They were just like north and then south. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure both are great, but I chose learning, innovation, and creativity in organizations because it was my favorite, and because I definitely agree that it could be more successful within a company. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and this was my project.